Alright, it seems like every weekend I'm draining coolant out of the wagon, but I'll show you guys why. So earlier this week, bleeding the coolant, I noticed that there was like a rotational squeak noise, and looking all over, couldn't really find anything until I turned the engine off, and check this out. Yeah, so that's the pulley moving. So it looks like the bearing's worn or done in this water pump. Cool, so here's the new water pump, Amsoil pt5. I ordered the wrong one the first time. I said 83 to the parts guy. I think 83 came with a 4AC instead of 3TC, so I got a different one, but this is what it looks like. Pro tip, sometimes it's better to buy the better water pump just for the gasket. These Amsoil water pump gaskets, I don't know what's in them, but these are really good. No need for extra RTV or anything. I've had paper gaskets for coolant stuff like permeate through the paper and leak out. So sometimes it's better to buy the better water pump just for the gasket. Or maybe if this guy's really expensive, you can get like the OEM gasket for any coolant related stuff. You can see on this water pump like a lot of Amsoil stuff. Somebody's job is to die grind off the Toyota logo. Alright, so water pump's out, and you can definitely tell it's easier with two hands, but there's axial play in this bearing. I'm kind of surprised this guy didn't leak or make horrendous amount of noise, because that's terrible. This kind of stuff I also like to take the studs out before I throw away. You never know what you could use these studs for in the future. Same thing with like clutch or brake master cylinders that come with these studs. So I will run a chase down all these bolts and get them cleaned up. 30-year-old paper gaskets, never fun to get off. Yeah, if you mineral spirits will soften up RTV and paper gaskets, so I would just paintbrush mineral spirits on this guy and then go eat lunch. Otherwise, all 5 bolt holes, or that stud and 4 bolt holes, I would clean up, run a chase through them. Sometimes you'll pull the tap back out and you'll get like a whole bunch of silicone or a whole bunch of garbage. If you don't run a tap through these holes and clean them out, there's a chance that you re-silicone this guy, you put in a bolt, and it could like hydro lock and crack the case or crack something else. So you always want to run a tap through these holes, brake clean, and then blow them out. My weapons of choice for stuff like this, pretty simple: brake clean, mineral spirits, razor blade, and then Scotch-Brite for the final run across. It's gonna be tough to see, but there's a nick right here from somebody overzealous, and so this is part of the timing cover. I'll just put like a dab of silicone right there, just for insurance, make sure that doesn't leak. Alright, so I have my service manual open. I wanted to double check if there's any special instructions for the water pump. I've had stuff before where it's like it goes into a water jacket or an oil galley, and it's like only these two put silicone, but looks like nothing special here. If we take out my banana bookmark, even here there's no water pump torque specs. So in the manual they give you a general guideline, like this is the bolt size and then the grade of bolt, what the general torque spec should be. So I'm gonna just put 13 foot-pounds on those guys, and I'll put some blue Loctite on everyone once I get these guys clean. Cool, new water pumps on. It's been a tough week, so I wanted to reward myself by getting the hella horns on. So I ended up not having to drill any holes. All these bolt holes are already just pre-drilled holes in the chassis. Same thing for that relay right there. So that's the factory horn connector. The OEM horn used to go right there by the headlight. So ground side switched, which means when you press the horn button, it connects power. So there's power running all the time. So it's still ground side switched with this relay. So power all the time into 86. The switched ground 85. Both of these two go into the switch. Oh, I'm sorry, the OEM horn connector. 87 is switched power, so 30 power all the time, 30s from the battery, and then 87 I have split into these two horns. So yeah, I'll probably clean up that wiring at some point, but and for some reason these horns sound a lot louder than in my Corolla, so I won't push the horn all the way. Cool. Alright, actually not cool. So I woke up this morning to see this puddle on the passenger floor again. And I was like, what the hell? My first thought was the heater core again, but it actually looks like it's relatively dry in there. And you don't see any like fresh wet marks down the trans tunnel. But you do here and then going here in the wire harness. So, and then this stuff feels thin. It's just like rusty rainwater. It rained pretty hard yesterday and today, so it seems like I have a leak in the body somewhere that's letting in this rainwater. The more skids kids have a wagon also, and I think they were saying something up here doesn't let the water drain right. And I can see there's like leaves and crap stuck in there, so at some point I'll probably take this guy off. But yeah, plus and minus. It doesn't seem like the heater core is leaking, or anything in the climate's leaking right now. I got a water leak in the body, so plus and minus. Alright, back again on a Sunday. So car's been doing alright. Unfortunately, I kind of discovered that this guy, 1 week of commuting and this thing will consume like the entire overflow of coolant. So pretty sure there's probably an internal head gasket leak. I definitely don't have time to do a head gasket job, so as much as it pained me to do it, I poured in this head gasket leak stuff, and I'm hoping this should be stronger, because it's like drain out the coolant, put in water, warm it up, cool it down, warm it up, cooling down, this convoluted process. So hopefully this works out. I will continue commuting in this car and let you guys know. But yeah, I definitely took a big hit, like, oh man. So last time we talked about how water was getting on the floors when it rained, and watching the More Skids Kids videos, I have the same 82 wagon, so I wanted to take this off and investigate. If you have a friend, it's probably easier to take the hood off. But so to take this cowl piece off, there's some push pins that look like that to get this guy off. If you have a friend, it's probably easier to take the hood off. It's just 4 bolts, but you can see it's really gross under here. So I'm gonna vacuum all this crap out and then take these covers off and see what's inside. Optimistic is the seal on this thing. I can just reseal, but yeah, it looks terrible. So yeah, we'll pull these off and we'll see. Alright, got these two guys off. Looks like this is just foam. This would be glued in place, but it's just foam. Plus and minus, it's not conclusive where this water's coming from. Looks like that's just a sticker. But the metal's actually in pretty good shape down here. It's not like rotted out, so Yeah, one test I could do is actually spray water in here and then see if it leaks out onto the floor, if, like a drain's getting blocked or something. But seems like on this chassis this issue's pretty common, but no one's talked about it yet. So if you know what the common water leak is and what the fix is, please leave a comment. It would help me out a lot. But yeah, for now I'll just put everything back. I'll just put some dum-dum or window sealant on this guy, and then continue commuting in this guy and let you know how it goes. It's pouring rain outside, so more opportunities for wet floorboards, which is great. That was sarcasm. Alright, so pouring rain, but I'm a little impatient when it comes to discovering stuff. So I have the hose inside the cowl right now, and it looks like you can see it's supposed to drain out this way into the fender. So this is for the blower motor, and then it'll go past, and then there's a hole right there for the fender, the water to drain out. But yeah, we'll go inside the cabin. But if these drains are blocked with like leaves and crap, I imagine water's got to go somewhere. So, but yeah, let's see inside the cabin what it looks like. It's pretty dry so far. With me spraying water directly on it, I'm curious if it's like through the window seal or something. But yeah, with water directly running on it, it looks like my leak, at least from this, is not from the cowl area. It's from somewhere else. Same thing. The sorry it's dark, but yeah, the driver's side looks dry too. There'd be a big puddle of water here, so my leak seems like it's got to be from somewhere else, which is good and bad, I guess. Alright, Friday night, finally got time to work on my own stuff. I forgot where we left off with this guy, but we'll do a short recap of where I'm at right now. So, found on the Facebook groups, I think it's like Vintage Toyota. Benji, thank you for the radiator shroud, and then AC button. If someone knows how this thing mounts, and then if this has like a trim around it, please let me know in the comments. I've had this for a while now, but if you guys remember, I spaced up the horn ring. This is that worn plunger portion, so maybe we'll get this guy in today. The next person who buys stickers from me, shoot me a message, and I will give you this immaculate Madonna tape. The tape's good, literally and figuratively. So last time, you guys probably remember, I ran that head gasket stuff in the car because this thing was consuming a lot of coolant. I would go through a bottle of this guy every week on my regular commute. And you can see it still consumes a little bit of coolant, but it's not that bad right now compared to how it used to be. So I'm just going to run the car like this for now. But I know draining it sooner or later, head gasket time. And then special sneak peek, some ass. Alright, I got the lower radiator shroud placed in here. But if you see, it looks like there might be one more bracket, like an L shape, that bolts to this. The top part bolts straight to the radiator, but today for the bottom, I think I'm just going to use zip ties. Something interesting about this car, on the freeway the temp actually goes higher, which may or may not have to do with the radiator shroud, but I don't know, I thought that was interesting. Alright, let's change that horn button. So you can see it's that guy right there. There's a 1-pin wire holding that guy on, or holding onto that guy, and then an E-clip. I'm just gonna do this in car so I don't have to disconnect all this stuff, but and it's this guy. When I take it out, I'll show you guys a comparison how worn down that thing is. Alright, got the old one out and the new one right next to it to compare. So in this kit you get a spring, that E-clip retainer, and a new rod. You can kind of see how worn away the old tip is. So I'm gonna install this guy. We'll go test out the horn. If you guys remember, I spaced this out last time to take up the slack. So now that we have that new plunger, I took all 3 washers out. Almost forgot, a little bit of dielectric grease is a really good idea, because if you can imagine, this guy slides in and out. And then also dielectric grease at the end of that guy, and I think I'll put like a light smear against right here too. Cool. New plungers in there, moves really smoothly. And then I got the E-clip and then that wire back there. Pro tip, that because that E-clip's so small, the dielectric grease actually helps. Like, you can position that thing into place, and then I just use needle to nose pliers and clip the E-clip all the way. So yeah, let's put this together. Let's test out those horns. Cool, got the radiator shroud in. It's funny, I'm so pumped to get like OEM stuff like this back in the car. That's how you know I'm getting old. Alright, and you can see the horn stuff in there. I know the lighting in the shop sucks, so if you'd like to donate to the Patreon so we can get better lighting. I got spooked when these didn't work when I had this just lifted up, but there's 2 bolts back here, and that's what connects this horn piece to body side ground. So alright, cool. I'm gonna call it a night. This should be wagon part 5 or 6, I forget, but thank you guys for watching. I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy in these times. Yeah, it's amazing how fast things have changed from like the start of doing this wagon video until, or I mean start of like part 5 or 6, whichever one this is, until like today. How much stuff has changed. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave any obscene comment you want. Just leave any comment, just leave a comment in general, right? Consider subscribing to the Patreon or supporting me on Patreon. You can check out merch. I'm looking for someone to do sticker design, so if you can do graphic design, do some AI files and really follow through, let me know. I'll get you paid, man. And yeah, stay safe everyone. I'll see you guys next time.